everybody. It is me, Mr. Chaos, and I just got done watching James Gunn's Superman. It was good. It was good overall. So I'm just gonna get straight to the point. So, where shall we begin? All right. So, brief synopsis. Brief synopsis. Sorry, I can't English today. So, Superman begins with, well, Superman. There's like a montage of well, not really a montage. It's just basically a Star Wars style opening, but without the crawl. It was just a sort of a beginning, like it was kind of it was actually comedic the way they did it, but it was basically just like words on the screen that were describing like it was sort of a recap of kind of where this movie was taking place. Like it was talking about the rise of metahumans and kind of talked about that, and then it always said three was very prominent, so it was kind of funny. And then anyway, in this movie, Superman has been doing his hero stuff for 3 years. So this is a Superman that is prominent enough and has familiar enough, to use his powers and that kind of thing. So his character is a little developed there. So he has his morals and all of that figured out. But throughout the movie, he also progresses more as a character. There's more character development within the movie. But it starts out with him. He basically got done fighting Ultraman, I think, and ended up losing. But that's what it says. And then, Crypto wakes him up, and he gets healed by the sun from his robots at Solitude, his, ice cave thingy, his ice base. And that happens. And then, there's Lex Luthor, and then, there's this, I think, Bolivia, and then the other country that I can't remember the name of, but they're, like, at war, and Superman basically stopped them from going to war. Previously, that's what it mentions before. So there's that, and then it just... stuff happens. I'm not going to go too much. I mean, just a brief synopsis, but, basically it starts with, it progresses, and then there's fights that happen, and then you meet, okay. Oh yeah. Well, actually, before I continue, I have to mention Lex Luthor. So Lex Luthor, this version of Lex Luthor is probably one of the most menacing and just like, he's got a big ego too. I mean, it's Lex Luthor, but he's like, this one's ruthless. Like he's a cold-blooded murderer. He doesn't even care for human life, basically. He only cares about his own ideals, and will do anything to achieve them. He hates Superman. Like, this version of Lex Luthor is, like, it's really good. Like, they did a really good job doing Lex Luthor. He's just evil. He's a straight-up bad guy, and they did him really well. And not to, there's also some pretty funny moments I'll go into later, some of the comedy, but it's definitely a James Gunn movie. For sure. I mean, if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it's not as dark as that. It's there are a few dark moments, but it's not that dark. It's more lighthearted. It has sort of a campy feel to it at times, but it's pretty much lighthearted for the most part, with a few dark moments, but not too many. The movie it's overall really fun. It's just a fun time. So, okay, now continuing on, sorry for the trail off there, so the synopsis, there's Lex Luthor is trying to find ways to distract Superman. So one of the ways he does it is there's like this baby kaiju that grows in size, and then they fight that. The Justice Gang gets involved, and they, help Superman to defeat it. Well, they end up killing it, but in a pretty brutal way, poking its eye, and then one of them, Mr. Terrific, basically sends a bunch of drones into its stomach and blows up its stomach, and then it just dies. It drops dead after blowing its stomach up. So, yeah, yeah. Then there's it's and then there's like a rift. Oh yeah, because Lex Luthor's stupid. He's so smart, he's stupid. He creates a pocket dimension where he basically captures metahumans and other things, and it's just a prison, basically, this pocket dimension. And there's a black hole in this pocket dimension, and then towards the end of the movie, it just opens up, and there's this rift that's opening up, and it's going to, like, swallow Earth, basically, if it's not, stopped. And Mr. Terrific ends up helping to stop that towards the end, and And then Superman, no, not Superman, the dog Crypto beats up Lex Luthor in a really funny way, flinging him around like, kind of like the Hulk in the Avengers, where with Loki when he was smashing him on the ground. Except this is even brutaler, because it's a dog like grabbing Lex Luthor and flinging him around. He's hitting chairs and stuff and desks, and it's hilarious. Lex Luthor got what was going for him, So I know I probably skipped a lot of stuff in that synopsis. I did. But those are just some of the standout scenes to me. Okay, a little bit more in depth now. So, Superman. We'll start with Superman. He's the main guy. He is a character. This is more. I haven't read the comics myself. I'm not a big Superman nerd. I'm just very casual. I haven't really read any comic books, DC or Marvel. I've seen them. I've seen several superhero movies, but from what I've known, from what I've learned and seen, this portrayal of Superman is supposed to be from what I've heard, it's very comic accurate. That's what Warrior was telling me, it's a very comic accurate portrayal of Superman, and it's trying to be true to the comics, and that's really prominent throughout the cinematography and the just the color scheme, the overall feel of the movie. It feels like a comic book. And that's a good thing. It's different from other superhero movies because it feels more like you're watching a comic. And it's in a live action format, and it was really good. And then some of the comedy too was really pretty funny too. There was a big mix of, dialogue, humor, and then there was a little bit of physical humor too, like with Lex Luthor, as I mentioned. Oh yeah, and then the final fight with Ultraman was pretty funny because Crypto ended up saving Superman's butt that time. That was pretty funny. And then he gets sucked into a black hole, Ultraman, and then, yeah. So, what else? Let's see. I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I'm sorry about that. I haven't ever done a movie review before, so sorry if I'm inconsistent in anything. This is my first time doing this, so I'm also doing this unscripted. I just watched this, so this are my thoughts fresh out of the theater. I mean, it's a good, solid superhero movie. It's really good. It's much better than anything Marvel's put out in recent years. It's a lot better. I think it's honestly going to do better than Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four ain't got nothing on Superman, in my opinion. This movie, in terms of writing, it was really good. It wasn't a masterpiece by any means. There were a few problems, but overall, it was a really good time. It was good. It was solid. It didn't really get past my expectations. It kind of met them, what I expected it to be, but there are a few things that surprised me. I didn't expect it to be as funny as it would be. There were it made me laugh several times, but at the end of the movie, there was an applause. The audience actually were clapping. So that's gotta mean something. That's something, but like I said, I think people that are more into Superman, that read the comics, would probably enjoy this movie more than I did, just because that's kind of what I haven't read the comics. I'm not a comic nerd, so if you like the comic books, I would recommend it. Even someone that's a casual viewer like myself would enjoy it. It's just a fun superhero movie. It's fun, and it's actually, there's some stuff in there that not a lot of other superhero movies have done. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the Justice Gang because I'm gonna go back into the comedy aspect, because that's one thing I love about movies is comedy. So the Justice Gang is literally just a team of superheroes that's nothing but comic relief, other than Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific had a little bit more character. He was the only competent one. Green Lantern is definitely probably my favorite character because he's just kind of a jerk about things, but in the best way possible. His whole idea is he's kind of annoying, but that's what makes him funny. He thinks he has an ego too. He has an ego problem like Lex Luthor. Not as bad, I'd say, but everyone disagrees with this version of Green Lantern, and it's hilarious. everyone in the Justice Gang except for Mr. Terrific is morally questionable. They don't, like, when Superman was, actually, I do need to talk about that because that is major to the plot. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, I can't believe I forgot this because this is a major part of the plot, is Superman is essentially, well, he's not really framed, but he has this recording from his birth parents that was sent, and it was translated. There was one part of the message that was damaged, so Superman never ended up figuring out, what it was. But so Superman, with his 3 years, was thinking, oh, I have to be, my goal is my parents want me to protect Earth. But what ends up actually happening, that lost footage is recovered, and Lex Luthor uses it against Superman, and basically frames him, sort of, but not exactly. It'll make more sense because the actual point of him was to, destroy Earth. This is something in the comics. I didn't know about this priorhand, so I guess it's something in the comics. I did not know this. Like I said, this is the only Superman movie I've seen. I've never seen any Superman movies prior to this, other than, I guess, Batman vs. Superman counts, but I did not like that movie at all. And that was years ago, so I don't really remember too much about it, but and I saw Justice League, but anyway, I haven't seen like a standalone Superman movie where it was just about Superman. So yeah, that I didn't know that about him, his character, but there's a pretty good, lesson or moral, because like this version, Superman is a very moralistic character. I don't know if that's a word, but he has, a heavy emphasis on morals. He wants to save as many people as possible. Superman is basically a metaphor of justice. That's kind of what he represents, just not just justice, but just saving lives in general and trying to preserve life. That's kind of what Superman represents, is to preserve life at all costs. And you see that throughout the movie, how he sort of, like, when they're fighting the kaiju, for instance, he doesn't want to kill it. He just wants to capture it, steady it, find a new place for it. And at most, and if that's not an option, then he'll euthanize it in a way that isn't going to be painful, a painless way. And then, yeah. So you kind of see that progression of his morality, and his morals. That's the word I was looking for. He's a very, morals is a big part of his character, and you see that throughout. And then his Earth parents, there's a great dialogue, great conversation that he has with his dad, his Earth dad, where he's basically saying the choices you make throughout your life define you, not your actions and stuff. They help define who you are. They show the world who you are as a person, not who your actual past. Well, hold on, I need to reword that. Not your past per se, but just your actions that you make define you, and choices, not where you came from. That's what I meant to get at. Your past place, circumstances, it's the choices you make along the way that define you, and that kind of thing. So that's a message that a lot of people, I think, can relate to. And it's overall a pretty well-written film. It was really good. And yeah, go check it out if you plan on seeing it. I know my thoughts were kind of jumbled, so I do apologize for that. I haven't really... I guess I might have ADHD or something. I have no idea, but I know I kind of jumped. But yes, and I'm doing a lot of and uhs and that kind of thing because I haven't done this kind of thing, and now I'm trailing off again. This seems to happen every time I do an outro. Every time I do an outro to one of these kinds of videos, I'm always like trailing off, and then, oh no, something happens, and then, oh no. Oh no, not you. Anything but you. No, no, it can't be. It is I, and I have come for your brain. I will infect you and every last human on this stinking rock.
That must never be allowed to happen again. We will never forget what the enemy did.